Topping today's news, the latest on the Kurt Cornish alleged rape investigation. The Adrian Gibson corruption trial hits a major snag with jurors dismissed, the opposition calling for the resignation of the immigration minister, and a mega U.S. warship in town to celebrate the Bahamas-U.S. relations and independence. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Cordell Frazier, has asked police to investigate some other lines of inquiry as it relates to rape allegations against sitting Member of Parliament from North Abaco, Kurt Cornish. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando telling reporters as much on Wednesday when asked if the government and police purposefully dragging their feet on the matter because of the alleged suspect's status.
No, that is not so. The lawyer, who is a good friend of mine as well, he worked along with me, and he pretty much understands investigation. As I indicated, the file is in possession of the DPP, and she have instructed some other lines of inquiries that we are following at this time. So that's what I said. We don't put a time on investigation. Other eyes are viewing it and generated a few lines of inquiries, and that's what we are doing at this time. But John Ferguson, a good friend of mine, and he understands the business when it comes to investigation.
In early April, a woman who was identified as the MP's ex-girlfriend accused him of rape and death threats. At the end of April, MP Cornish presented himself to police on Grand Bahama for questioning. That's where the complaints were made. He was released on the same day. The woman's attorney, Bijan Ferguson, has expressed concern that the police are dragging their feet and said the length of time for this investigation shows a double standard. MP Cornish has only been questioned once by the police. Commissioner Fernando says if the other lines of inquiry require police to question the Member of Parliament again, they will do just that. He says the investigation is thorough, fair, and very much active. The 9-member jury impaneled last month to hear evidence in the corruption trial of F&M Member of Parliament for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, has been discharged. On Wednesday, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson dismissed the remaining 7 jurors after 2 jurors were dismissed for breach of protocol. On Tuesday, the jury was dismissed as the court heard legal arguments. On Wednesday, during cross-examination, a female juror admitted to discussing the case out of court, noting that she discussed the trial with her husband to determine whether he was related to the former Water and Sewage Corporation executive chairman. Her husband did confirm that they are distant relatives. Justice Grant Thompson dismissed the woman as a juror because jurors were told not to discuss the case with anyone. The woman also admitted to reading press reports about the matter. Another female was dismissed as she noted that she worked with one of the prosecution's witnesses, Tanya Demerit. She also noted that she has family ties in Long Island, with many of her relatives being Gibson's constituents. Justice Grant Thompson, in dismissing the remaining 7 jurors, noted that the trial could not proceed with just 7 jurors. Gibson and others, including the Water and Sewage Corporation's former general manager, Elwood Donaldson, are accused of enriching themselves to over $1 million through a series of illicit checks and wire transfers in connection with contracts awarded by the Water and Sewage Corporation while Mr. Gibson was the executive chairman. The group together faced 98 charges, including bribery, conspiracy to commit bribery, fraud, receiving, and money laundering. A new slate of jurors will be selected on July 24th. As it was revealed by Urban Renewal Minister of State Lisa Ramming during her contribution to the budget debate last week, there is the possibility of a 2-week gun amnesty period in partnership with her ministry and the Ministry of National Security. The Minister of National Security, Wayne Munro, expanded on that process.
Once they have formulated and finalized their plans, they will no doubt speak with the Commissioner of Police, and if necessary, they will come to me if there's need for legislation or any matter like that to accomplish it. But that is the job of urban renewal. The job of urban renewal is to be in the neighborhoods, listening to the people, knowing what is happening and knowing what can work in terms of actions taken in the community. So this is a proper function for urban renewal.
The National Security Minister says the gun amnesty initiative is an urban renewal program. Thus, they will have a timeline on when exactly that gun amnesty will come into effect. He also makes it clear that they will not be buying guns.
Urban renewal will have a concept. They will have to run it by the police to make sure that the police is satisfied with all the circumstances. So, for instance, if they come and say, we're going to put a bin on the side of the road to deposit guns in, without even being a policeman, I would know that's not a safe thing to do. And so they will come up with a program. They will come up with what they intend to do. The one thing that is clear, we will not be buying back guns. This is not a gun buyback. We do not support that. We will not support that, and that's very clear.
Gun amnesty initiatives have been used by a number of previous administrations in the past, yielding mixed results. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard condemns the unorthodox actions of the Minister of Immigration Keith Bell and the Cabinet of the Bahamas. This on the heels of an audio clip that went viral with Minister Bell swearing in 3 people as citizens of the Bahamas during a funeral at the Metropolitan Church of the Nazarene on Saturday. Mr. Pintard says the government has cheapened this sacred constitutional process by turning it into a drive-through sideshow. The FNM leader, during a protest outside the Department of Immigration building today, called for the resignation of the immigration minister.
The government, in our view, is cheapening our sacred patrimony, our Bahamian citizenship. We join Bahamians who are outraged and angered by the voice notes circulating on social media regarding the so-called unorthodox actions of the Minister of Immigration, Mr. Keith Bell, on the weekend of the 24th of June, 2023. Mr. Bell knowingly carried out a series of actions that he himself suspected was contrary to the policy bestowed upon him. And we are deeply concerned about his bad judgment when issuing citizenship, especially in this case, while attending a funeral service. While we sympathize with the persons who mourn the loss of a loved one, this is a country of laws.
Mr. Pintard says the action by Minister Bell were wholly unnecessary and of poor judgment. He says the opposition fully supports the granting of citizenship to all individuals who meet the requirements, but in accordance with established public policy and practices.
1, an applicant must apply in writing to the Director of Immigration and submits all documents required by the department to support the application. 2, the application is then processed by the Immigration Department. 3, in the application order, we understand clearly that the Minister of Immigration must then receive the documents and pass them on to the Cabinet for review. 4, the Director of Immigration sits as an executive officer to the Immigration Board on all immigration matters. The Minister of Immigration would then bring the application to the Cabinet and speaks on them. 6, upon approval of the application by the Immigration Board, the Cabinet, the Minister is then empowered to notify the Director of Immigration.
Today, at the office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, Deputy Press Secretary Keishla Adderley says she, along with Prime Minister Philip Davis and Minister Bell, they had a conversation on the matter, but he did not break the law. However, she adds that a case like this will not happen again.
Well, let me say, for starters, there was nothing sinister, I don't think, about the act. Minister Keith Bell has conceded that it was something that was unorthodox. Certainly no rules or laws were broken in the execution of that swearing-in ceremony. It is something that the two have discussed, the minister and the Prime Minister, and certainly it's not something that anyone would like to see happen again. He conceded again that it was unorthodox, no laws were broken, but it's not something that we expect to see happen again.
She goes on to say that there is no specific location in the law for where swearing-in ceremonies can be held, nor who can administer the oath in relation to citizenship. Global Relations Consultant within the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Senator Randy Roll, on Wednesday outlined a number of initiatives that are intended to improve downtown Nassau, and that includes non-approval or renewal of business licenses for those who do not properly maintain their premises. Senator Roll sent a warning to owners of businesses in the downtown area, particularly as it relates to keeping the area clean. He says officials will be enforcing the sanitation clause in the shop owners' executed maintenance agreements. Barring that, they will engage the Department of Inland Revenue's business license.
If people aren't willing to comply with the laws, then I must call my good friend, the senator responsible for Inland Revenue, as we cannot allow this to continue to be a hamper in keeping Bay Street clean. We will implore the owners of spaces and buildings on Bay Street to maintain their property. We will not tolerate littering and disposal of waste on our streets. The government is responsible for collection and removal of refuse in common areas. Shop owners must do their part to keep their surroundings clean. If the rules aren't adhered to, fines will and must be incurred.
According to Senator Roll, in August, officials will continue demolishing derelict structures in the downtown area.
The Demolition Task Force, formed by Deputy Prime Minister Cooper and headed by myself, have identified and outlined a number of buildings that are not only a health hazard, but are also an eyesore in the downtown area. We have also been in communication with transport and have started the conversation to assist with the rerouting of some jitney drop-off and collection points.
Senator Roll says the Ministry of Tourism intends to create the ultimate experience for tourists in a social climate that is clean, safe, and secure for all.
By creating segues for guests that need to quickly maneuver through traffic to make it to their port to embark on time. It has been brought to our attention that some guests have missed their departure times because they were stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic when closing our roads. Madam President, we must consider all stakeholders. Bringing Goombay back to Bay Street. Revitalizing Junkanoo Beach will finally undergo a much-needed transformation. The Department of Lands and Surveys completed their assessment and survey of Junkanoo Beach, and I am pleased to report that finally order and structure will be returned to this area.
The senator says reviving downtown and bringing the desired change requires all hands on deck. And finally, in this segment, to commemorate the 50-year relationship between the Bahamas and the United States, and ahead of the United States July 4th independence celebrations and the Bahamas' July 10th 50th anniversary of independence celebrations, the USS Wasp made a special voyage from Norfolk, Virginia to the Bahamas. While docked at the Nassau cruise port, local media got a chance to tour the 844-foot amphibious assault warship. Commanding Officer Captain Nikita Cooper greeted the press, noting that their visit is to strengthen the importance of bilateral partnerships.
On behalf of the sailors on Wasp, we are absolutely privileged to be here to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the independence of the Bahamas. This visit also provides an opportunity for us to strengthen an important bilateral partnership with our maritime neighbor, which is highly important to the overall stability of our region. To our Bahamian friends across this beautiful island nation, we are absolutely honored to be here with you. And I want to sincerely thank you for hosting the men and women and allowing us to celebrate in this incredible milestone with you. Allowing us to get to know your culture and, more importantly, getting better acquainted with the men and women of the Bahamas. At the same time, I'll offer you that during my 25 years in the Navy, I have also come to learn how remarkable our men and women in the United States Navy are. Just as the Bahamas has always been a maritime nation, the United States always has been and will continue to be a maritime nation.
The warship is manned by over 3,000 U.S. Marines and sailors. The USS Wasp is fully equipped with command and control systems and has medical facilities that can support non-combat evacuation and humanitarian missions as well. In carrying out its primary mission, Wasp transports and sends ashore not only troops but also tanks, trucks, artillery, ammunition, and other supplies. Command Master Chief James Timmerman says, as a part of these missions to the Bahamas, the Marines will take a special visit to the Simpson Penn School for Boys and the William A. Pratt School for Girls.
We're thrilled to be here in Nassau with you to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Bahamas and our partnership together. So our sailors are excited for the opportunity to explore Nassau and get to know the Bahamians while we are here, as well as an opportunity to visit with the youth at the Simpson Penn Center for Boys and the Willie Mae Pratt Center for Girls to provide mentorship and share their Navy experiences. We have a crew of almost 1,000 sailors, so each of whom will play a critical role on the Wasp every day. And I'm going to tell you, they're definitely ready to get out there, have some fun, and relax while they're here.
The principal mission of the multi-purpose amphibious assault ship is to enable the Navy and Marine Corps, those two teams, to accomplish a seamless transition from sea to land, primarily as the command and control center. The Wasp was last deployed from Japan from January 2018 to September 2019. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.